Yep. Return of the squeegee thing. Return of the squeegee thing. I love this model. She has no thoughts. Look at that little head. What is that space between her ears for? I mean, you can't see her ears on this, but nothing. Certainly not for her brain. Certainly not for her brain. Where'd my game go? There's my game. Load save. I just met the green guy and the ginger. Climb out of the conversation bit and hold out their gloved hand to shake. Roswell's grip is firm. Roswell's grip is firm and their handshake is, well, enthusiastic. I'm Mimi. It's nice to meet you too. I'm your new neighbor, I guess. I'm taking over the Milky Way diner. Sorry for interrupting. It seems like the two of you are in the middle of a pretty heated battle. Hardly. I had just finished claiming victory. Seteth turns off the holodeck and climbs out of the conversation pit as well, standing beside Roswell. I am Seteth's... Oh god. Okay, look, they had to reform my teeth so I could say these sounds, okay? I mean, it wasn't like the express purpose, it was also... Because if your teeth are too close together, you get loads of dirt in them and you can't get it out. My teeth are too close together for floss. Fun fact. Yeah. I forgot to do something. It's raining outside, so I want to go to bed. So it just does it with that thumbnail, okay. Why is my mic not? Oh no, sorry, there's just a delay. Yeah, researcher says Dakarat. Roswell elbows him in the side. Now do the thing like we practiced, they say out of the corner of their mouth. Now do the thing. We practice. Seteth rolls his yellow eyes and extends a three-fingered scaly hand, offering for a handshake. I take his hand in mine. It feels odd. A bit cold, in a far different shape than I'm used to, but altogether a well-executed gesture. After Seteth lets go... yeah. I should probably pick a stream type. Doesn't involve so much reading, because I'm not very good at this whole sibilant sounds thing. You can hear the hiss through my teeth. There you go, bud. You killed it. Oswald leans up towards me and Mock whispers. Seth was super nervous about it, making a good first impression on our new neighbor. He even asked for a refresher on human greeting customs. I'm not. Seth spotted embarrassed. Why are there so many S's in this bit? His tail swishing back and forth in agitation. It is a sketchy and greeting custom. I'm grateful you made the effort and well. My voice trails off. I really should have brushed off on my interspecies relations for coming all the way out. Here. It clears his throat and shifts awkwardly. That's the thing is, how should I put this? Oswald leans in towards me and whispers under her breath. Sketchy and greetings are kind of intimate. By mammal standards, it's not hardly my fault you're all so weird about your chests. I'm sorry, chests? Teth pinches the bridge of his nose and sighs. Allow me to demonstrate. Oswald looks suddenly very interested in their palm pad, averting their eyes and absently scrolling through messages. He turns the empty space to his side and folds his left arm behind his back. First, I would make a fist over my heart with my right hand like so, and then I would reach out and place my palm over your heart. He mimes the motion into empty space, keeping his palm in position for about 3 seconds. I'm not using his name. I'm sorry. I really can't say it very well. And okay, I gave myself DIY speech and language therapy. I was so embarrassed about this at the age of like 7. Like that That's how much of a deal this was for me. Like, yeah. I'm relatively easily embarrassed. And yeah. So this was the year that my mouth is too small to say some sounds properly, because when my tongue makes contact with the back of my teeth, it does so too early, which means that and th sounds, l sounds, and I think also h's I sometimes have trouble with. Essentially, quite a lot of them. Luckily, I'm British, so I don't have to say any consonants like ever. I can just glottal them. She glottal on my stop until I. Hold up, that's. Hang on. You know, I make only the highest quality Tumblr posts, and I only make them at appropriate times, like in the middle of streaming or when I'm in the middle of a lesson. You would then reciprocate the same gesture. In essence, it is an expression of shit. Oh no, my headphones didn't. My headphones have a tendency to accidentally turn themselves off, and obviously my mic's running through there. Fun fact, until recently my setup not only involved my crappy... Whichever crappy old laptop I had before this one, I don't remember, I go through them really fast because I have a really... which is really bad luck. I keep getting laptops with manufacturing issues, and then they die, like, really drastically. I mean, one of them, the screen peeled off. My old one still works, actually. It just also makes loud mechanical grating noises when you turn it on, and has no, like, internal battery function, which is a bit of a bummer. Sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but... yeah. I think I'm hilarious. You then reciprocate the same gesture. In essence, it is an expression of trust, a way to prove that you are no threat. Having another's claws right above your heart is a risky position to put oneself in, after all. Constance set his hands 3 massive thickly yellow nails at the end of strong scaly digits. There is also this gesture as an alternative. He puts his middle finger and makes an arching gesture from his forehead outwards. Oh, is the middle finger... hang on. Yeah, that one. Second. But it's also technically his pointer. Whatever. As a non-sketch removal suffice, we understand that other species don't have the same boundaries as we do, although if I was to introduce myself to another member of my own species in this way, it would come off as cold-blooded and hostile. I see, in that case. Sure, I'll endear myself. Oh, I forgot to read these out. I keep forgetting to do that. Even through his clothes, I can feel that his body is colder than a human's. They're missing an apostrophe there. Sorry, I know this is like a demo, but I'm still in proofreader mode. I'm always in proofreader mode. It doesn't turn off. Like, you... And I can feel his up, yeah. Proofreader mode never turns off. You're a proofreader once, and you're stuck like that for life. That might just be me. Set his heart beating hard and fast under my hand, his chest rising and falling under my palm. I look towards his face and a small smile is playing on his lips. I feel heat rise in my face and realize a second too long has passed. I remove my hand back quickly as if burned by a stove. Set his notice? If he notices, he says nothing. It's good to meet you, he says with a warm tone. Left hand behind his back, he makes a fist with his right hand, places it over his heart, then reaches out and places his palm where my heart lays. His large, cold, clawed hand is still and unmoving on my chest, feeling my heartbeat. I understand why this is an expression of trust for his species. He could rip the heart out of my chest if he wanted to. Literally. Oh, God. Tumblr would love this guy. Tumblr would love this. I mean, Tumblr loves many a guy. But it's good to meet you, too. After the 3 longest seconds of my life, he removes his hand from my chest. As if on cue, Roswell puts their palm pad back in their pocket. See what I mean? Intimate? Anyway, welcome to Block 3. Yeah, welcome. How was your flight? Did it go okay? It's a long way from the Helios system. Are you from the Helios system too? Nope, I was born on the Casper. It's one of the 3 original human extrasolar mobile space settlements, right? 3 Magi, as they're called, are 3 massive ships that left the Helios system not long after first contact with the Galactic Assembly almost 2 centuries ago. Built with the help of the Assembly as a token of goodwill, the residents were the first humans to set out and join the galactic community. Lots of those original passengers ended up settling in established GA colonies. Some would go on to settle fringe planets, but a significant population decided the ships were their homes now. They would journey on exploring the galaxy as generations passed. I remember the first time I took a long-haul transport off the Casbah. It was budget, of course, and I felt like I had the worst hangover for days after being in the pod. The same thing happened when I traveled to the Hesperides. I went to the Milky Way diner feeling like literal death, and Cassie made the most amazing soup, and poof! Felt better than ever, I swear it was like... Oswald stops mid-sentence, seemingly remembering in that moment that Aunt Cassie is gone. They shake their head and blink back the tears that start to form in her eyes. Your aunt was a real great lady. The Milky Way diner... The Milky Way diner means a lot to all of us out here. It's really great that you're carrying on that legacy and keeping it open. Zedith nods his head solemnly. Does this guy do everything solemnly? Yeah. I need to stop getting distracted. I ate pretty much all my meals there. We both did. Also, everyone really loves my aunt, which is great. My real life aunt is terrifying. Scary. I mean, I love her dearly. She scares me. She scares everyone. Nothing beats Cass's spicy fried spiny bugs. Oswald signs wistfully, and Setith rolls his eyes again. This is great practice for me, to be honest. I think I just kind of avoid words that I find difficult. Like, yeah, my amount of skill in avoiding words like shoulder and soldier. Yeah, you have to say it much more slowly, because if I say it fast, then I slow my words, and it sounds like bad. Yeah. Never let it be said that growing up with some sort of weird speech difference does not make you expert at strategizing. Cass's cooking was indeed very good, but that dish is simply a waste of perfectly good spiny bugs. No, it's not. Fried spiny bugs are literally my second favorite food of all time. What is it you humans like to say? You could deep fry circuits and they would taste good, or you could taste oil, salt, and starch. You can hardly taste the delicate flavor of the milk. You can hardly taste the delicate flavor of the meat under all that batter. I personally prefer them simmered. Oh God. I like to actually enjoy my bugs for what they are. You know, that same attitude is the reason British food is so bland. At a certain point, someone decided that spices were like gauche, and therefore that truly posh cooking involved meat that simply only tastes of meat. Which, you know, unless you have really, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry, tangents. Tangents getting distracted every 5 minutes. I'm sorry, spiny bugs? The name sounds pretty familiar if as for what they look and taste like. I'm drawing a blank. You really haven't left the Helio system. They're huge out here in GA space and in the colonies. Super tasty, much more substantial than the crickets you get in the Helio system. How imaginative that ours is named the Sun System. I love them. Cassie once said they taste kind of like lobster, which I've never had, but I think it's supposed to be good. I've never had lobster. I've never had lobster, actually. I've been told lobster tastes kind of like crab. I've also actually never eaten crab, so. They're a specialty from my home planet. Our dog breeds them out on the agricultural deck. You can ask him to bring you a couple to sample. It's good to know. I'm actually kind of curious. They taste great fried and spicy since you did them in. Now you're talking. I'm sure they will turn out great. Certainly better than anything I could make. It's not saying much. Roswell is an absolute abysmal cook. Absolutely abysmal cook. Harsh. And the truth. God, student. I see a lot of me after you open up shop. Before I forget, I made you guys some sweets. I often the reusable containers for the desserts I made. Oh, thank you. You shouldn't have, really. Oh, come on, man. Just say thank you and move on. How are they supposed to know you don't do sweets? Oh, shit. Sorry, I didn't think of that. Roswell gratefully takes the containers from me with an apologetic smile. Sorry about him. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll happily eat his share. Phil snaps their fingers as if something just came to them. Yeah, I almost forgot. I have a welcome present for you. Present? Yeah, just a little welcome to the neighborhood gift. Sits down and grabs the small duffel bag that was sitting on the couch. Dig around for a minute before pulling out a lumpy ball wrapped in festively patterned reusable cloth and handing it to me. Oh, thank you. Should I open it now or later in my room? Definitely now. I want to see the look in your face. Yeah. I too am rather curious to see how you will respond. Between that guy's amusement and Roswell's naked enthusiasm, I feel a little bit nervous. Could this be a prank of some kind? No, these two don't seem the type to haze their new neighbor. Tentatively, I opened the wrapping to reveal a fuzzy blue ball with big... It's a Furby! Its robotic yellow eyes... That's the wrong it's. Yellow eyes click open and I flinch, almost dropping the contraption. Yikes! Whoa, easy there. Turning myself and taking another look at it. Some kind of pet bot, the kind that's pretty popular with kids, but it's not any creature I recognize. Do you like it? I know it can be hard to adjust into a new place. I found this little cutie in a box of Kayetri snaps. Kyle brought me back and ran on and fixed them up to keep you company. It's supposed to be a rune. Well, a cartoonish interpretation of one. Kyle said they were super popular in her homeworld when she was a cub. Don't hold back. I told Roswell was a bit of a juvenile. That's just another word for fun. Anyway, be honest. No denying the sun is encompass company its own way. I think I do love it. It's a Furby. Creepy cute. Exactly. Said it shudders. Stares into your soul. Right into your soul. It's part of its charm. Kyle told me that in the wilds of Ranon they immobilize their prey with their stare. Thank you so much, Roswell. This was so thoughtful of you. I really do love it. Roswell blushes, beaming with happiness, their smile bright and warm as sunshine. I feel myself starting to blush a little too. I had a feeling you'd be a fan. I'm more than a fan. This little cutie being the best of friends. Hearing that, the little pet Mont Rune stops purring even more. What does it do? Well, it's got a basic AI. It'll respond if you pet it or pick it up or talk to it. It can give off a little heat too. You can also ask it for the weather. What weather? We live on a space station. Okay, fine. I'll tell you the weather if you take it planetside or the news. A pointed glance at Seteth. Oh, glare, I think. That's meant to be. He's wanted to be. I'm not sure if it's glance or glare. Because glance is more likely because the keys, which is relevant everywhere. It's even got a built-in speaker function so it can play your music. All of which the AI assistant built into your living quarters can do. Yeah, but you can't cuddle the living quarters AI. No, you cannot. Score 1 for the rune. If you ever need any maintenance on it or anything else, give me a shout. I'm the head tech on the Hesperides. If it's broken, I can fix it. Just send out an alarm when Roswell's pomp pad sounds. Speaking of which, Judy calls. I better get back to the tech office. And I should head back to the lab. It was good to meet you. You guys as well. Yeah, but I do. Why do we all head away for his rest for drinks tonight? A little welcome party for a new friend. What do you say? We'll meet you after we're done working today. Try my best to make it. I've got this experiment to... It can wait. Come on, live a little. I live plenty. Yeah, that sounds fun. I guess I'll see you two later. I'm gonna drop my stuff off in my room and get settled in a little. Yeah, rest up. Take care. See you later. Did I do that by accident? Probably. Gives me a friendly wave before turning around and walking out of the block with Roswell following behind. God, 20 minutes in. I do not have the stamina for this. Also, last time I did this, I woke up the next day and I'd lost my voice. Oh, it's not someone knocking on my window. Great. It's just the rain. It's a friendly way before turning around and walking out the block with Roswell following behind. Now, I believe you have credits to transfer to me. Oh, and here I was hoping you'd forget. I walk over to the door for room 3 and scan my wrist chip. The door slides open and I take my first step to my new home, carrying the rune in my arms as it continues to purr away. Rumble, rumble, rumble. My bags were left in the sunken entry alcove, placed carefully by the delivery bot from earlier, I presume. I remove off my shoes and take a look around the room. It's cozier than I expected it to be. There's a bathroom and a little kitchenette, as she would described. This was a sleeping nook with plush-looking sheets and a warm golden glow coming from lights in the walls of the nook. Finally, there is a surprisingly large window looking out into space. I can see the distant blinking lights. I don't know. A blinking sight of one of the stable wormhole entrances. The occasional flashes of starships zipping by. It's peaceful. Place the little rune pet bot on the shelf by my bed. His little robot eyes blink a couple times, looking around the room. I think it's really funny looking. Sekibo. Voice calls out from inside the pet bot. Speakers crack a little with age. What the? I sit in the bed and lean until I mind with a rune. Bosha Vos Rashnuka? Robot creature's ears move up and down and looks at me. Are you speaking Kaiatri? Sakfat. I don't speak Kaiatri. Sorry, little buddy. Theshra. Rune closes his eyes for a few minutes and rumbles a little. When the rumbling stops, it's open again. Language path updated to Galactic Assembly Standard Dialect. Hello, friend. What's your name? Yeah. Hello. Is there a name you would like me to respond to? Oh god, what am I gonna call this thing? What am I gonna call this thing? God, what do I call this thing? Let's go simple. Bean. Right, Bean for now. Do you want to play? Some other time. I want to take a minute. But I want to take up naps. I take no naps, so I want to sleep so bad. Say, peeling off my traveling clothes and flopping onto the bed. Somehow it's even comfier than it looked. Covers and let out a contented sigh. Lights off. Pull out the lights of the room, switch off. I turn over in bed and look at his glowing eyes. Can you wake me up in a couple of hours? Of course, my friend. Sweet dreams. Why would we give it at that point? That's it. Whatever. Close my eyes and almost immediately fall asleep. I wake from my nap. It's about an hour and a half before I'm supposed to meet Roswell and send the day away for his rest. I pack my bags, take a refreshing water shower, and get dressed. I figure it won't hurt to be a bit early, so I decide to head in and have a drink while I wait. I walk into the Wayfarer's Rest. It's a dim space sparsely lit with neon. It's just a classic space bar. There are a handful of patrons scattered around, occupying tables and stools along the bar. I decide to grab myself a spot at the counter. Look over at one of the small drinks menus on the bar and inspected none of the cocktails or anything I'm familiar with. Oh, yep, there's another one. The person behind the bar, a kite-tree with long hair wearing incredibly fine clothes, walks over to where I sit. Places a glass of water in front of me and a purple cloth napkin, gives me an easy smile. To Wayfarer's Rest, dear guest, I'm Lara. Is there anything I can get started for you, or would you like a bit more time with the menu? I look over the unfamiliar list of drinks with alien ingredients. I recognize a few of them now thanks to EDAR, but it's not enough to really know what I want. What would you recommend? Depends on what you like. I'm sure I can make something that'll be to your taste. In that case, like something sweet. What's the thing? He sees himself taking bottles of liquor off the shelf behind him and mixing the ingredients together with practiced efficiency. As he's finished, he places a glass before me filled with a deep purple liquid. There are 2 small blossoms floating on top, along with what I guess are 3 skewered keshri berries. Here you go, this is called sumokta. It means spring twilight and is a classic kaiatri drink. I'm so tired. I take a sip and the drink tastes sweet as candy. There is the unmistakable flavor of kashri berries with a floral note and a wine-like tannic taste at the bottom. Tannic taste refers to the taste produced by tannins, which is the stuff. It's what makes red wine red, I think. It's good for you, apparently, but that fact is like kind of counteracted by the fact that alcohol is not. So I don't know, I guess you have to get the tannins somehow else. It's delicious. What's in it? A bit of keshri set, some tartmon, and a little keshri blossom syrup. So what brings you to his parties to get something you want me by sharing your name? He asks, his voice smooth as velvet. Yeah, I'm just moved in here today to take over management of the Milky Way diner. His eyes narrowed slightly at my response. Ah, so that's why you asked. Still smiling, but with a coldness to his tone that wasn't there before. Here to steal my recipes, scope out the competition. You're looking to add a cocktail menu. Mail told me about the new chef and she dropped off my delivery today. It's kind of looking me up and down. She says you were cute for a human, but I don't quite know if I see it or not. It's casually on the counter behind him, arms folded as if. Do you read it? Well, maybe, it's crazy. I'm just here to enjoy a drink while I wait for my friends. Besides, we're really in competition. I was matter of fact, unamused. I run a bar and I run a diner. Those are pretty different. Is it niche or is it niche? I never remember. Pretty different things. You don't have anything to worry about. You and my aren't competitors or something? Is that why you suddenly got all cagey the second you learned who I am? I asked, taking another sip of my drink, which is annoyingly good. We're friendly rivals, he says, with a grin as he busies himself with cleaning glassware. I guess there will be a bit of competition for customers who are just passing through. I really do think the station is big enough for the both of us. There's no reason we can't get along. Not see me as competition. I'm supposed to compete with him. See as competition. He shrugs. This guy's an interesting whatever. Friendly rivals then? Just grazing my glass. Friendly rivals. As he sets about prepping to be garnishes with cocktails. I need to sip my drink. My eyes wander to the shelves of unfamiliar bottles. What's in all these different bottles? I was pointing to the shelves behind me. It's all alcohol, right? And obviously, there's mixers. We're not savages. I know what a mixer is. Stuff you put in so it doesn't taste bad. I'm really sleepy. Ugh. I started reading a really good comic, but I can't ever recommend it to anyone because the author really transparently has a huge foot fetish. And by that I mean... Yeah, actually, I think I'm just gonna... Yeah, move them down. Any more minutes? Okay, I'm gonna load my save. Just in case. Answers. This can't consume alcohol, nor beverages that produce altered states. Do they mean can't consume in the sense of it's toxic, or can't consume in the sense of, like, it doesn't intoxicate? I don't know. Stream flower met really, really insistent. So it wasn't wrong. Round bottle filled with thick golden yellow substance based on the container. It has lovely sweet flavour and a mild psychedelic effect. I find rather enjoyable myself. Oh, yeah, humans drink it too. Yes, the Nori can as well. The Sketrian's a bit sensitive to some of the compounds found within, so they generally don't consume it. Problem is that it is very outline. I see. Sleeping at the bottle, turning it over and back. Watching the golden sparkling liquid swallow out inside. This is Quillen, a Nora drink of choice. Explains, pulling down another bottle from down pleasure. This one is told is skinny and filled with a mysterious, iridescent looking liquid. Made from puff fish venom. Oh! Dolphin style. Dolphins get high off pufferfish venom. It's a thing. No, because besides the various other things dolphins do, which I don't like to talk about whenever, but you know. Besides being weirdos, dolphins can also do drugs. Sadly, Kayatri can't enjoy this, but it's safe for you humans. I've been told it induces a lovely mellow high. Guess that makes sense that not every species can consume the same thing safely. Nods thoughtfully. It is indeed a very important thing to consider when you're providing food to multiple species. There's a lot to learn if I don't want to end up accidentally poisoning someone. That would be bad for your business. Jesus, providing with a devilish smile. Potentially good for mine. I hear the bar door behind me chime, and a familiar friendly voice calls out, "Hey, you made it!" Roswell with Vega in tow. That colour scheme has got to be deliberate. I see what you did there. Roswell with Vega in tow. Hope you don't mind that I invited Vega along, she mentioned you guys met. Vega gives me a friendly little wave, like, "Wee!" Oh, not at all good to see you again. Roswell looks behind me and waves at the bartender. Hi, Laura! Yeah, he's a lot taller than some of the other cars. There's the fluff. Dear guys, please take a seat wherever you like. You'll walk over and join me at the bar. I get a bottle of ketchup. Pleasantly taking out a pop glass bottle from underneath the counter, popping off the cap before handling. What's that? Is it any good? I like a bit, so I like it. Take a drink from the bottle. I've been looking forward to this all day. Yeah, it is like a beer. Sure, why not? Any human drinks? I used to carry some Martian beer, but Roswell and Cassie were the only ones who ever ordered it. Drugs. It's a business decision. Let's leave it to my business decision. This ketchup is so good. I'll have 12, please. Sorry, miss, but I'm afraid I can't serve you it. It's alcoholic. Oh, right. Whoops. Silly me. So quick. It's the first time out of her home system, too. Explained to him. How about a Dreamflower Reshet Fizz instead? Sure, that works too. Goes around and busies himself with preparing her drink. So what's the status of your ship? Vagrant asked. Respectfully, it's not a ship, it's a fossil. Hey! No offense. So Nerulian Rethar, that class of ship hasn't been in production for like 75 years. I'm impressed that it's still operational. I mean, okay, 75 years isn't that old for a... I mean, it's not that old for a boat. Okay? Like, there are loads of boats. Like, don't some navies still have boats from, like, a couple of, like, operational heavy boats from... Yeah. I doubt it would even pick up on most modern scanners. Vega's lucky the sensors we have on the station are also fossils. The rescue team might not have reached her in time otherwise. I told Vega that I could fix it, but it's going to take me a while to find the compatible parts that I'm missing. Oh, yeah. Because they're probably not made anymore. Said she'd be better off just cutting her loss. It wasn't flying commercial, but she said... But I said that I'd rather just wait. Says cutting Roswell off. It's not like I'm in a hurry, besides this station seems nice. He's got the drink. Placing the drink in it, I actually skipped the thing. In front of Vega with a smile. Thank you, Lara. Right, correct. A pleasure. Your time goes off again. Over here, Adar setteth. I got everyone's here. Waving the both over to the bar. They turned to be able to okay, so maybe I didn't just also invite Vega alone. I thought that a welcome party might be fine. The others should be here soon too. The others? There's more people? Oh yeah, right. I've met all these people. I have. Great, it's gonna be a great night. Roswell turns to Setteth and Idar. Hey guys, this is Vega. Motion towards Vega with a flourish. She's also new to the station. Her starship exploded and she's very lucky not to be dead. Vega bows towards Idar, then she greets Setteth with an arcing gesture from her forehead outwards with her right hand. It is a pleasure to meet you both. Nice to meet you, Vega. Nice to meet you too. I can tell he's making an effort to speak loud as we can be understood over the music and conversations. He tilts his head slightly as he looks at Vega. Sorry to ask, but have you met before? Slips a little at Idar's question. Why? Sorry, I asked you. You look so familiar, but I can't quite remember how now. So I just have one of those faces. Oh, she does not just have one of those faces. There's something going on. With an uncomfortable laugh, planning to continue talking to Roswell. Wait, is Roswell named after the... There's a thing. I don't remember what it is, but it's a thing. Idar turns to me. By the way, I wanted to thank you for the dessert you made. I really enjoyed it. Happy to hear you enjoyed it. I'll make some for you again sometime. Anything I can get you, boys? Have a Sekish neat, please. I'll have a nectar spritz, please. Coming right up. As he gets back to work on their drinks. You guys both have a good rest of your day. God, I'm really tired. Yeah. How much longer? Whew, breathing break. Okay, I'm being so brave. I setteth an Ida. It was productive. I've been wondering what exactly is it you wish. Research out there, setteth. Deep space biophysicist. My area of study involves a particular near microscopic species that lives near in the vacuum of space called tarsex. Particularly drawn to areas where the fabric of space and time is a bit loose, as the nexus point of 4 stable wormholes is an ideal place to collect samples and study them. What species even survive in the vacuum of space? Perhaps that question is a bit too complicated for this setting, but perhaps you could come by my lab someday and then I could explain my research a bit more thoroughly then. That'd be really cool. I'd be happy to take you up on that. Now that's a rude option. Turn to Ida. Did you have a good day too, Ida? Nods. We transferred some strawberry seedlings to the grow towers. You grow strawberries here too? When will they be ready to harvest? About 2 weeks. I'll include some in your produce delivery once they're ready. I'm looking forward to it. I'd love some as well, he says, handing Ida inside of their drinks. I have a great idea for a new cocktail. Alright, let's get this party started. Calls a familiar voice from the entrance to the bar. I look over to see Kyle straight into the Wayfarer's Rest. I'm really sorry. I'm too tired to just like hide something. Lara responds in Kayatri and pours Kyle a shot of clear alcohol. She takes the shot from Lara and slams it back in one swift motion. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about, she exclaims and then turns to Roswell. Hey, Sparky. Roswell and Kyle share a high five that becomes a surprisingly elaborate secret handshake. I wasn't expecting those two to be friends. She then turns to Idol, giving him a friendly pat on the back. Sprout, my man! How are those seeds I brought you back last time? Doing great, they just started germinating. Love to hear it. Such as always fun to see you out of your science cave. The word you're looking for is laboratory. Science cave. Yeah, but science cave is just way more fun to say, and you, Kyle says, turning to me with a bright smile. How was your day, sugar? Yes, Seteth mutter. You really could not wait until they got settled before trying to charm them, huh? Kyle shoots him an icy glare before turning back to me. Pretty good, I'd say. Lots of new as you can see. I have to ask, you're going to keep calling me from now on, unless you ask me to stop. I don't mind. Vega taps twice on Kyle's shoulder to get her attention. Hello, we haven't met yet. I'm Vega. Oh, hi, sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you there. As Kyle and Vega introduce them to one another, my attention shifts to the two other people attending the Wayfarer's Rest, Shimu and Saria. They walk over and join us at the bar. Ah, yes, Doctor and Officer, anything I can get for you, my dear guests? I'll take a glass of Quilo. Just some iced tea with mineral water, please. I'm right up yet, because he can't get hungover. He's got an important job. He takes his job very seriously. How are you feeling? Much better, thanks for asking. Of course, we'll try not to keep you out so late. Need your rest to adjust to GA standard time. Days are a bit longer than you're probably used to. Speaking of rest, she turns to Shu. God, he's gonna have the... You know that thing where, you know, there's the Genshin woman who's overworked and she has that whole arc where you have to persuade her that, hey, you don't have to work overtime every day. Are you getting enough rest? Meds you gave me are doing their job to help me fall asleep, but I still find myself waking up multiple times in the night. That's weird, because she's probably just giving him, like, melatonin. Like, I take melatonin and I conk out for 10 hours. Just, I lie there, I have things that are mysterious about my childhood, and I wake up at the end of it, and I was like, wow, I don't feel rested at all. I'm just tired all the time. I see. Come by my office tomorrow and we'll talk more. They can make you something that could help. Our office placing shoe and sorry, remind you that I'm 2 years of that. Something non-alcoholic. Honestly, I'm hurt you'd think I disrespect your sobriety, like someone to come to your room and do a bedtime story. So those two are like, there's something there. Honestly, why does everyone on the station care about how much sleep I get? Because you're like the only thing keeping that station from falling into like desperate ruin. Because you have friends who care about you. I'll be thankful to have so many people caring enough to check on me. You know, I think making everyone feel loved and cared for is more important than pursuing a specific romance route. It's not the right time. Yeah, I am right. Yeah. We all just want to see you. We just all want to see you happy and healthy. Me especially as your friend and as your physician. And I know, and I do know how fortunate I am and thankful that I'm just not the biggest fan of being fretted over so much. I can take care of myself. I'll come by the medbay on my break tomorrow. See you tomorrow too. Sorry, yes you can. Didn't you just say you were feeling much better? I am, but I might have some trouble adjusting to the time change, like you said. Ray could bring you lunch, since you said earlier we're looking forward to not having to cook for meal. It's very generous for you to offer. We really don't need to trouble yourself. I can wait for the diner's opening like everyone else, but I'd be happy to give you a quick checkup tomorrow should any problems arise. Yeah, of course. Sorry if I overstepped that. You seem to care for everyone here so much. I just wanted to make sure that you feel cared for too. You don't overstep at all, so don't worry, but I won't be accepting any special treatment. Not unless you want to deliver lunch to everyone else. This conversation continued. Roswell climbs onto the bar. Oh god. Extrovert. They stand on the counter and call out to the assembled group. Alright, can I have your attention now that everyone's here? Please get off the bar. Right, sorry. Roswell hops off the bar and back onto their seat. As I was saying, let's make a toast. To new friends and the grand reopening of the Milky Way Diner. Cheers. Cheers! This is the end of the demo. My god, I'm so tired. It's been great. You know, I really like it and the characters are, you know, compelling and stuff. But it is also nearly 9 o'clock and I'm very tired. Overall, you know, if I had more money, I would, you know, Kickstarter it and stuff. But I spend a lot of money on fabric. And I just run out. Hang on, actually. You know what? How did they, like, get to that point? They made it to their goal. They made it to their goal. Oh, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm so tired.